Most people think that this song, Since I Lost You, should have been released as a Phil Collins solo song. But I disagree. I don't think it should have been released at all. Okay, I don't want to be harsh on this song, so let's talk about some of the positive things. First of all, it's actually a really beautifully well-written song. It's a Tin Pan Alley or a Motown-style song. The chorus, My Heart Is Broken into Pieces, is a beautiful melody. Everything about this song is gorgeous and wonderful and great, including the story and the meaning behind this song, which I'll get to in a second. But having said that, everything about this song being great, it still just doesn't feel like a Genesis song. And it feels like a Phil Collins song that we don't really love, like Groovy or One More Night, these kind of like super sappy ballad tunes. Either way, it sounds like a B-side across the board. It's a beautiful song, just not a great Genesis song. And I know that they suffered on We Can't Dance a little bit with sonic direction. They weren't as cohesive as they were on Invisible Touch. This is coming from someone who loves We Can't Dance. And there are times where that's my favorite album because it's an album I got on cassette whenever it came out for Christmas. So this album is really meaningful to me. Speaking of meaningful, the lyrics of this song. So here's what happened. Eric Clapton's son tragically passed away when he was really young. It was a tragic accident. You can Google it if you want. I don't want to talk about it. Very, very sad. Horrific. The day after this happened, Genesis just so happened to be in the studio recording We Can't Dance. Mike and Tony were playing this 6/8 style ballad. Were they writing the song for Eric and for his son? We don't know. Phil came in and started singing My Heart Is Broken in Pieces, singing over top of it. A melody that would come to you if you heard this instrumentation right away. And it's beautiful. They finished it. It sounded like a love song, but they all kind of knew what it was about because they were all in mourning. They were all friends with Eric. And this was a tragedy. I think one of the things that really diminished this song is the fact that Phil is said to have mixed the track. I think they were debating whether or not this were to go on there and maybe put on the Shoreline or some other songs. It was in the early 90s when people started bloating CDs because CDs could take up to 74 minutes. They didn't have to do double disc. They wanted to give people more incentive to pay big bucks for CDs. And so 12, 13 songs was the normal. 10 was considered a short CD. So I imagine there was pressure to add more and more tracks. There's more kicks at the can for having a hit single that way. In hindsight, I think We Can't Dance would have been better if it was shortened. Anyway, the song is mixed and done. Phil realizes this is a song about Eric and for his son. So he hooks up with Eric, plays him this track. They're both crying. They know what it's about. It's super meaningful. In that very same meeting, Eric says to Phil, I've also written a song for my son. Want to hear it? It's called Tears in Heaven. Tears in Heaven might be one of the best written songs of all time, especially under the circumstances. The quality of Tears in Heaven, and I think Phil alludes to this in his book and by telling this story, but the quality of Tears in Heaven basically wrestles Since I Lost You to the mat. I think I don't love this song too because I think of the tragedy when I hear this. If it was just a love song, I think I originally just thought it was a love song, as a lot of people probably do, in which case it's bearable. But when you think of the tragedy, I find it very uncomfortable. I also think nowadays when a tragedy is like that, I would never write a song for someone just because it seems to like make the tragedy about me. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like I would just want to give my sympathies and not like try to write a hit song for them. You know, I don't know. I'm being super critical. I know a lot of people don't like this song. It was, I think it was voted by a lot of people as their least favorite Genesis song. I don't skip it, but it is one of my least favorite. It doesn't transition very well into Fading Lights either. Again, if Tony's watching, I just want to say this is a beautiful song. And if it was given to somebody else, used on a soundtrack for another purpose, I would give it high marks. But on a Genesis record and under the circumstances of the tragedy, I just find this song difficult to listen to. I bet you feel the same way. I bet you in hindsight, when they think of Tears in Heaven, how big and powerful that song is, and they think of maybe how awkward this song feels on this record, I think a 10-song version of We Can't Dance would be better. I won't get into what that looks like because for me, like some of my favorite songs are your least favorite songs, like Never a Time or Tell Me Why. I love those songs. I wouldn't cut them. But anyway, that's my thoughts on Since I Lost You. Again, I gotta say it's a beautiful tune, but it's not right for them. It's not right for the album. I wanna know what you think. Give me your thoughts on this tune. Let me know what you thought when you first heard it. Let me know how you view it and how you listen to it in the light of the passing of Eric's son and this track being about that. I'm really, really curious to know your thoughts on this tune. Thanks for watching.